Have you ever worried about asking for something because you might come across as difficult, or held back at a meeting because you were worried about how it would land? Well, that's the very thing that we're going to solve today. And by the end of this episode, you're going to stop going around the world to ask for what you want and just go out and ask for it. Let's take the word difficult out of this whole equation.
Let's take it out, because we lean into that, I don't want to sound difficult. I don't want to be a bother. I don't want to be a problem. And guess what the problems do? They get promoted. They get more responsibilities. Here is what I tell all of my students that I teach. When you make a statement, you are setting up for an argument. When you ask a question, you are setting up for a conversation. This is what costs company money, not the disagreements people have, it's the ones they don't have. We know the data shows us U.S. companies alone are losing about $300 billion a year because people won't do what you just said.
Welcome to In Confidence, where what we share in confidence helps us grow in confidence. This season, we are solving the problems that you've given to us. And today we are solving a problem that almost every person in our audience raised their hand for. How do I ask for something without sounding difficult? Whether it's asking for a promotion, pushing back on a decision in a meeting, or just advocating for what you want and need, most of us either go completely silent or we go around and ask everyone else to hint at what we want, and hope someone figures it out. We hold back because we don't want to be labeled, we don't want to rock the boat, and we don't want to hear the word no. So today's guest is going to dismantle all of that. My guest today is Dethra Giles, the CEO of GRAVITAS, a 4-time TEDx speaker, and the author of That's Not What I Said, Master Conflict with Conversational Competence. And here it is. And it's her framework that's going to change the way you show up in every conversation. Dethra, welcome to In Confidence.
It's such a pleasure to be here. I'm so honored.
Okay, so we have to talk about how we met. I think of those as one of those serendipitous moments. We were both doing the Mortgage Bankers Association Empower event. And you were on stage, I was on stage, and then afterwards you came and bought all the clothing from our pop-up. Do you remember this moment? You're like, I'll take this, I'll take that. And then we swapped phone numbers, and I texted you. I'm like, I want to help you any way you want to be helped, and we should be friends, and look at us now.
And here we are, years later, still connected.
It's so wonderful, and I love it when we can support each other's work and business, and it's just exciting to have you on the show.
It makes all the difference in the world, especially for us women.
Yes. Okay. So we always start with 2 signature questions. The first is, what are you proudest of from the past 12 months of your life?
This is a difficult one because I am graduating my son, who is my last child to leave the house. So we got him into the school of his choice. He got his top choice. He literally applied to one school because he was so adamant, and got in, and we have scholarships. So that's a proud moment. He will not cost me another arm and a leg. But also I published a book, and I found out yesterday that my book, That's Not What I Said, Master Conflict with Conversational Competence, is in the top 3% of all books on the Amazon platform.
Oh my gosh. And I have a copy.
Yes.
Like it's right here. It's brilliant. I recommend it to everyone. So congratulations.
Yes.
What an accomplishment.
Like of the whole platform. So I was like floored, top 3% for all books, not just my category. So that has been a very proud moment for me.
Oh, and we're going to dive into this book. Not only is it the best title I've ever heard, it's just so helpful. And that's why I want to invite you on today. Now, for those of our audience who don't know who you are, how do you make a difference in the world? Share with us a couple of highlights from your life journey.
Oh my gosh. So I've done 4 TEDx talks, and I have all the degrees, and I'm the CEO of an HR consulting firm called GRAVITAS, and we get to go around the world optimizing the performance of people. But the thing that I most love is helping people make money by having the conversations they need to have, but don't have the tools to have. And that gives me more pleasure than anything. So what I really do is help people have the audacity to have the conversations they need to have.
And I love the phrase, the word audacity, because that is woven throughout all of your work. How did you get to this point? What were some of the moments that led you to being this person today?
You know, they were very some of them were defining moments, but the moment that sticks out in my mind the most, where I really stepped into audacity, and I talk about the difference between confidence and audacity. Confidence is data, audacity is action. So the example I give is, I'm a crazy dresser. People will look at me and say, oh my gosh, that looks amazing, but I could never wear it. Confidence is knowing it's cute. Audacity is wearing it. And so I tell people to wear it. But what really sparked this for me, I was a leader, pretty young, 27 years old, director of a department, leading people, over 20,000 people. And I would get ignored in these meetings. I would go into these meetings and I would get overlooked. Like the typical, I would say something, no one would hear it. Someone else would say it later on. It was the best idea since sliced bread. And then one day I said, why am I dressing this way? I don't like the blue, navy, khaki. I am a colorful, crazy dresser. And I wore a bright yellow suit. And all of a sudden, everyone was like, Dethra. I was like, oh, so you all do see me, right? And I said, I've always thought a yellow suit looked amazing on me, but you ignored me anyway. You ignored me in the navy blue and the khaki. And so I might as well wear the yellow. And I said, audacity is the action, because you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So pick the damn that you can live with. And I could live with being ignored in my yellow suit if I was going to be ignored anyway.
I love that, because it's so who you are. And it is all, what I love about audacity is when you act, you stay top of mind.
Absolutely.
Versus
People
being
remember
invisible.
you.
Yeah, people
Yes.
remember you. I remember you.
They're going to label you anyway. They're going to talk about you anyway. Why not be happy and still be talked about?
Well, I hope your GRAVITAS products have made you feel like you can stand out too.
Oh my gosh. And people stop me like, oh my gosh, where'd you get that? Especially my little, the vest that I have.
Oh,
people,
yeah.
Oh, they die for it. They die
I love
for
that.
it.
Oh, okay. What we're doing this season is a little bit different. We surveyed our audience and we asked them, we gave them a bunch of problems that we could solve for them. And they chose somewhere around 15 or 16 problems for us to solve. And so each episode, it's like phone a friend, like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? I'm phoning a friend. And as soon as I saw this question, I said, there's only one person I want to answer this question, and it's you. Especially because I love your book. By the way, I should just read the full title of the book because it's so bad. That's not what I said. Master conflict with conversational competence. I mean, who doesn't want to be able to master conflict and to do it with conversational competence? This is why I invited you on today. The question that was asked is, how do I ask for something without sounding difficult? And this is the problem you and I are going to solve for our listeners today. So good, right? All of us have been here.
Oh my gosh.
And I want to start off with, first, why do you think capable, accomplished people struggle to ask for what they want or need in life?
So a few things here. We have often been taught that needing help is a sign of weakness. So first of all, the first thing I tell everyone that asks this question, I get this question a lot, is step back from the idea that needing help is a sign of weakness. Every single person that has been successful has been so because of help, whether it was because my family name carries weight, whether it was because I had a good mentor, sponsor, or advocate, whether it was because I had a professor that recognized something in me and told someone about me. Even, like, I hate the term self-made millionaire. That's the biggest crap that has ever been said. Because even if it was people buying your product, someone bought it so you could be a millionaire. You're not self-made. So get rid of this idea that help is a sign of weakness. The second thing is be clear about exactly what you want. I am a very well-connected person, and I hate when people come to me and say, can you help me get a job? Well, what do you want to do? Anything. Guess what? I am in HR. My background is HR, CHRO, run HR for some very large organizations. I've posted over 10,000 jobs in my HR career. That's not exaggeration. I have never posted a job with the title of anything. Right? Help make it easy for me to help you. So know exactly what it is that you want. And then here's the deal. Make yourself loan worthy. And what do I mean by that? When you ask someone for a recommendation or help, what you are asking them is to loan you their reputation. And those of us who have built a reputation, it is worth money in the bank for us, literal money in the bank. This is how we live our careers. If you are asking me to help you, you need to make sure that you are worthy of the loan that I'm giving you. So know that asking for help is not weakness. Know exactly what you want and be loan worthy of what you're asking me for.
I love that, because one of the things that I learned early on is the network is only as strong as much as you give and take from it. Like give to it and take from it. So everyone wants to be helpful to you, but when you make that ask, people need to know exactly what you want, and then know that when they come to ask you, you're there. You're like going to say yes. Okay.
Yes, make it easy for me to help you. When you make it hard for me, it's less likely I'm going to help.
What about if I am trying to make a point that is less about asking, but more about pushing back? How do I push back without sounding difficult?
Here's what I talk about, and this is why my D.A.R.E model is so important.
Yes, I was hoping you would go there. Go to the D.A.R.E model. Okay, first of all, before we even answer my question, how do I push back? Explain the D.A.R.E model, because that was my favorite part of the book.
Yes. So my D.A.R.E model is for what I call conversational competence. And here's the definition of that for me. Conversational competence is the ability to have an effective and productive end to a conversation where there is a high likelihood for disagreement. This is pretty much every conversation we step into. So if there's a high likelihood for disagreement, our conversational competence needs to go up and not down, and that's typically what it does. And what most of us do is we either crawl into a ball and be silent, or we flip tables over. And we don't have an in between. It's like, oh, either I am going to turn into the Incredible Hulk, I'm going to be the mild-mannered Bruce Banner and say nothing. And we have to learn to be somewhere in the middle. And that's why D.A.R.E is so important. So D.A.R.E stands for describe, acknowledge, review, and engage. Describe versus interpret, acknowledge similarities without minimizing differences, review the narrative you've accepted as fact, and engage for conversation, not conversion. Now, when we answer the question that you just asked, we start with that D, describe versus interpret, when I want to push back. Here is what I tell all of my students that I teach this stuff. I teach negotiations, I teach conflict management, and I tell them, when you make a statement, you are setting up for an argument. When you ask a question, you are setting up for a conversation. You always want to set up for conversation. So when you're pushing back, instead of saying, that's a dumb idea, I don't like it, let me tell you why, say, walk me through how you got there, because I think I want to add some data as a data point for your conclusion.
Ooh.
Now, you are not in a position to defend your point. You are in a position to help me understand and get additional data.
Okay.
And so you want to make it a conversation and not an argument. So ask a question.
Okay. And is that, okay, let's take this. Walk me through then D.A.R.E. So we're in a meeting and I disagree with you, Dethra. Okay. I'm like, I don't know. That doesn't sound right to me. Coach me on what I should be saying to engage you.
This is the stuff I love. Okay, you got me really excited. So I disagree with you. We're in a meeting, because here's the deal. I'm going to back up a little bit. This is what costs company money, not the disagreements people have. It's the ones they don't have. We know the data shows us U.S. companies alone are losing about $300 billion a year because people won't do what you just said. Hey, I have concerns about this project, but I'm not going to say anything. This project is $1 million project, and you know in your head this is going to fail, but I'm not going to say anything. And companies are losing money to the tune of $300 billion annually. So what does it look like in the meeting? Hey, I heard something, doesn't quite sound right. Start off with describe versus interpret. We often speak our interpretation. That's a bad idea. This is going to fail. Everyone shuts down. They either shut down or defend. No. Hey, we've done this in the past. It didn't work out. I think we should attempt this problem again, but what will we do differently this time?
Ooh, okay, that's the describe. Okay, I'm not interpreting it. I'm just naming it. It's almost like naming this feeling that I'm having, but not interpreting it. Okay.
And ask a question based on what you want to make as a statement. This is going to fail. Oh, how can we prevent this from failing?
Oh, okay. What's the acknowledge part? Where do I go from there?
Acknowledge similarities without minimizing differences. They walk you through, this is how it's not going to fail. Oh, that's interesting. I agree with you. I agree with you on these things, but here is where I want to add a data point. Listen to me. Here is where I want to add a data point. Not, here is where we disagree. This is the part I think is wrong. Here's what we often do. We often say we agree on pretty much everything, so let's keep going. No. Because we're going to end up at a problem, because the part that I really want to raise is the part where we disagree, but that makes us uncomfortable. I don't disagree. Here is where I want to add a data point for us to consider in this project.
Okay. Where's the review? Let's go to the R.
Review the narrative you have accepted as fact. Now, when we enter these conversations, we know we are right. Correct? And we accept that as fact. Abandon that for a second. Abandon this idea that you are right and you have to be right. Use this to do what we do in the scientific world anyway. We always want to question our hypothesis. I tell all of my students, when you're doing research, your job is to disprove your hypothesis. And if you can't disprove your hypothesis, then you are right. You are not researching to prove your hypothesis. You're researching to disprove your hypothesis. And if you can't disprove it, then you're right. Approach this the same way. Review the narrative you have accepted as fact. Hey, I could be wrong here, but here's what I was thinking. Give me additional information.
Okay. And then engage. This is what you've been doing the whole time.
Engage. And that's what I love about my model is it's not this linear process.
Yeah.
It's all inclusive. We're engaging for conversation, not conversion. And let me tell you why engage for conversation, not conversion or convincing is the best way to go. Because we have all, and don't act like you haven't done it because you're lying to me and yourself. We've all done it. We've all been in that argument. And we were arguing someone down. We had great data points. We knew we were right. And we were about to win the argument. And then all of a sudden, a piece of information came and you realized, I'm wrong. But I've gone too far down this road now. I can't back down. I can't back down now. When we engage for conversation, not conversion, we don't reach that point where we are more defending our ego than we are defending the outcome. And that's what allows us to work through the D.A.R.E model so successfully and succinctly.
I love that. First of all, I'm going to use this with my boyfriend. Thank you for my new approach to engaging, because I always think I'm right. This really has application outside of the workplace, teacher. You know
absolutely.
this. I know this. And as you're talking, one of the things that, I almost wonder the original question we asked, if you're challenging the sounding difficult part. Because everything you've just shared with me says, no, we've got our fingerprints on the answer together. We're not on opposite sides. We're on the same side. There's no friction. I'm not trying to take you down. You're not trying to take me down. You're almost saying, let's take the word difficult out of this whole equation.
Let's take it out. Because we lean into that, I don't want to sound difficult. I don't want to be a bother. I don't want to be a problem. When the reason you're saying that is because you recognize everyone else around you is being a problem. And guess what the problems do? They get promoted. They get more responsibilities. They get acknowledged. They get the highlight. And while we're in the corner shrinking because we don't know how to say it and hoping that people will recognize our great work and my work will speak for me, your work is mute. Your work does not speak for you. It would be like an attorney going into court with all of the best evidence in the world and saying the evidence will speak for itself. No, it won't. You have to present. That's what attorneys do. They present the evidence. So do you. And you need a way to do that feels comfortable and is a formula that you can easily follow. And that is the essence of why I created the D.A.R.E model.
Well, I love it because it works both when you're asking for something, but also when you're challenging something.
Absolutely.
So let's go back to the ask. Let's say there's a project I really want to lead, but someone else has been there longer. They're probably going to get it, but I still want to go to my boss and ask for that opportunity, again, without sounding difficult. But, I almost feel like the question itself is hard, right? Because you're right. Yeah. We all assume we're being difficult or we avoid conflict. So how would you have me go and ask that boss to be the leader of that project?
And this one is a different question for me. I take the difficult out of this one. The thing that people most often have the issue with in this question is I don't want to sound entitled.
Ooh, okay.
I don't want to sound entitled, especially if I'm younger, especially if I'm less tenured, because you know what they say about us. You know what they say about my generation. We are this entitled generation. And this is something, and mind you, I am unapologetically, proudly a Gen Xer. I am 49 years old. I'm very comfortable with that, right? And I'm the one with this generation, like, stop talking. The issue that you have with this generation is that they have the audacity to ask for things that we always wanted, but we're too afraid to ask for.
Ooh,
That's the
good.
only thing wrong with them.
Okay.
That's the only thing wrong with them. Now, how do I do this without being entitled? We approach this conversation speaking about value, not about us.
Okay.
Hey, here's this project going on. Here's the background and here's the value I can add if I were leading this project. And say the thing. We're always afraid of saying the thing. I know there is a more tenured person that you were thinking about that may even want to lead the project. But here is what I have that can make this project exceed expectations. Because everyone is here about value add, not about tenure. I tell people when I was in HR and CHRO, please do not come and ask me about this job because you've been here the longest. Because we don't make money off of who's been here the longest. We make money off of those people that can add value. Tell me what value you add. And if you speak value add, you're speaking their language.
I love that. And let me try to apply the D.A.R.E model. If the answer is no, then would I then say, because I'm going to try out the Dethra D.A.R.E model, which is, would I then say, okay, so the next time a project like this comes along, what would I have to show you or demonstrate or learn or prove to be in the ring for that or in the consideration?
Ding, ding,
okay.
ding, ding.
Oh, good job.
That is it. I tell people all the time, when people are applying for jobs and they get upset, they already knew who they wanted. It's not fair. I will tell them, you aren't upset because they knew who they wanted. You are upset because it wasn't you. And your job is to change that the next time. So when you're asking for a promotion, hey, I would love to be assistant director. And they say, no, we're giving it to X. Cool. I understand. They are great employees and they are awesome. I actually model some of my work after them. Here's my question for you, though. The next time that position becomes available, will you mentor me so that I am prepared to be the selected candidate the next time? You've now brought them into your world because if I'm your mentor, I have a vested interest in being a good mentor. So you have to get that job the next time.
Yeah, I see. This is why I think your model really gets people going, because we all want to avoid conflict, or we're all afraid to hear the truth about ourselves. And what I hear you saying is flip that around. You are capable, you're accomplished. Don't be afraid of that. Lean straight into it and engage. I love
Absolutely.
the E part of D.A.R.E.
And on this also, when we talk about that entitled piece, review the narrative you accepted as fact. Oftentimes we review this narrative. Oh, what we accept as fact is it's not fair that someone else was identified before the job was posted. It's not fair. Flip it. It's fair. If you work that hard, you should rightfully get that position. So flip what's fair. What's fair is earning your spot even before that spot becomes available. That's fair. And if we review that narrative, we accept this fact, it's unfair, and change it. Now we get in position to be the person, because now I realize, oh, it's about me doing the work before that position even opens up. And so it's only fair that if I did it, I should get it.
I love that. And if I'm essentially engaging and asking questions along the way, I won't have to wait to be seen. People are seeing me do it along the way.
People are already seeing me.
Now, what is a mistake people make when they're trying to ask for something without rocking the boat? What's a big mistake that you see people making?
One, when they're trying to not rock the boat, they go around the world to tell people what they actually hope for. They are hoping that someone will guess what they need. Oh, instead of going to your boss and saying, hey, I know that our assistant director will be leaving in 6 months. I would like the position. We say things like, ooh, I wonder who's going to replace the assistant director. Ooh, it's very interesting. I wonder what we're going to do without them. Instead of saying, hey, I would like to be that person. Can you tell me what things you're looking for? Hey, I want to add value to this group. What does it look like for me to be put in position to be the assistant director, whether it's here or somewhere else? We go all around the world. So one, my father's Jamaican, we say, don't go around the corners. Come to me. Ask the question directly. Number two, always be speaking about a value add. So we feel like, oh, I'm asking for too much because we haven't acknowledged our own value add. Many of us don't even know. We're waiting for someone else to tell us our value. So what I tell everyone, create a yay me file. A yay me file is where you're documenting your successes, the clients that have responded well about you, all those things. Because your supervisor could be supervising 8 other people and they have a job of their own to do. They can't remember all of your accolades. Help them remember. So when you have the conversation and read it before you go to them, it makes you feel even good. You're like, well, I'm pretty darn good here. I'm helping them out by asking about this. So know what you want and be able to articulate why you want it. It doesn't just help them. It builds your confidence and leads you to the audacity to even ask the question clearly.
Yeah. And what you're also getting at, because there's one situation in my life where I always feel uncomfortable asking this one person about something in business. And one of my friends reminded me the other day that, like, you make them money. Like that you're making assumptions about that person, like they're so busy and it's an inconvenience, and like, wait, they make money working with you. Like this, just treat it about the money, the transaction. And I wonder if there's also this thing of like, we make up these assumptions in our head about the other person. Like, oh, they don't like me, or they're going to be inconvenienced, or they're going to be annoyed by me. When oftentimes most of those assumptions aren't true. They're just living in our own heads. Do you find that to be true as well?
Oh, most often we make up the worst scenario. And I'm like, if you can use your brain power to think of all the things that could go wrong, why not use it to think of all the things that could go right?
Okay.
Think of all, and it's okay. We can't help it for many of us. It's just natural, and it's okay. But now ask yourself the second question: what could go right? What if they say yes? And here's the hard part that I walk people through quite often. There is a chasm between yes and no that we never explore because we're so afraid of no. We feel like you can only get 2 answers, yes or no. And I'm like, no is not the end of the conversation. It's the start of the negotiation. So give me my no. And now I have a good, clear strategy for what to ask about next. Hey, the answer is no. Good. So what would it take for the answer to be yes?
Yeah. Or what else could I give you? Right. So I've heard no a few times, and I usually go, okay, well, what if we structured the deal this way? And the person goes, oh, okay, that's interesting all of a sudden. Or what if I gave you an extra percentage point? Does that change the way you think about it? And they're like, oh, yes, I would think about it now. You've de-risked it. I love the idea of no is not a complete sentence. It's just the start of a conversation. Because now you know where people stand. You forced them to tell you where they stood.
Exactly. I'm like, it's not the end of the conversation. It's the start of negotiations. And sometimes that negotiation is finding a person that makes better decisions. I tell people, when someone tells me no, it's now my job to find someone that makes a better decision.
I love this. Okay, so what I love about the territory we've covered is when I'm asking for something, it's about my value add. Don't make assumptions about what the other is in the other person's head. Be comfortable with no, because I can bounce back from it. I can negotiate from there. D.A.R.E. I love D.A.R.E. as a model for pushback, because you're really getting people to be in there with you. You actually are trying to create that arena for discussion.
Yes.
Okay, so tomorrow, someone's listened to this podcast, and tomorrow they're going to try a few of these things. What are 2 or 3 things you want them to do tomorrow to start practicing this?
Number 1, start small. We hear this and we're like, oh my gosh, this is great. I'm going to go and address the family person that I hate the most. Like, ooh, back up.
No.
Don't go to your mama just yet. Start small.
Or my boyfriend. I have so many things to talk about with you today.
So start small. Start in something that's a low risk. I tell people, take on the rejection project. Go ask for something that you think the answer is probably no, and that the high likelihood, like go to someplace and ask for a free burger. The answer is probably no. Now work the D.A.R.E. model. Low risk, no risk, so you can get used to it. That's number 1. Start small. Then number 2, start to identify those conversations that you know you need to have, but you've been afraid to have, and strategize in your head first. Before you go to them, write down their strategies. And number 3, think of all of the opportunities that you are missing as a result of not having these conversations. When you begin to understand and unravel all the value you are missing out on by not having these conversations, it will propel you to take action. So 3 first. What am I missing out on? 1, start small. And then number 2, start navigating and mapping out how you want to have those conversations.
Oh, I love that. Okay, I'm going to start small. I do, even though I'm the person that talks about gravitas and believing in yourself, I do avoid certain conversations just because I don't want to go into them. So I'm going to start small tomorrow. Okay, I can do that. I'm going to start.
And we all do it. Even I do it. It's because some conversations are just scared. Like it's hard for me to go tell my mom no. I'm like, okay, It's my mom and she has certain power. It's hard. But there are some conversations I remember I found it easy. It became easier for me with the motivation when I had children. Okay, Mom, there were certain things that happened when I was growing up that are not going to happen with my kids. We are walking through this conversation.
Okay. You know what? I figured it out. I think tomorrow what I'm going to try, my boyfriend and I always get into it about who has to walk the dog. And I feel like I need to engage him in at least talking about, we both don't want to walk the dog at 10 p.m. at night. What are some solves around this? Like I do always do the 7 a.m. walk, Dethra. And so it kind of makes sense that he does the 10 p.m. one. He's a night owl. But that's what I will report back to you on text message on how that one goes. All right.
That's an A. That's acknowledge similarities without minimizing differences. We both want the dog walk, and I get that neither of us want to do this 10 p.m. walk. Here's the difference. Someone has to do it. So how do we work through this?
Okay. I will report back because I feel like, and what I think you also taught me is like, I don't have to win this one. Everyone just has to walk away feeling better that we've had this conversation. I hope you loved this episode of In Confidence. I hope you got as much out of it as I did. Thank you to Dethra for showing up and being my phone a friend today. For each episode of the season, I want you to have a clear takeaway. And there's a PDF that highlights a lot of the insights from today's conversation on our website. But here's your power move for this week. The next time you need to push back and ask for something or navigate a hard conversation, lead with a question instead of a statement. I loved how Dethra helped us frame up, hey, from my point of view, that's not how I see it. Could you explain more about that? Or have we thought about the implications of this decision? A statement sets up an argument or a conflict that we're on opposite sides of the table. A question sets up a conversation, discussion. We're on the same side of the table looking to solve this problem together. And before we close this season, I'm adding something that matters to me because growth deserves to be seen, ownership deserves to be named, and the people doing the work deserve to be celebrated. At the end of each episode, I'm going to recognize someone who's leading with gravitas. And no surprise, today's shout out goes to Dethra Giles. Pick up her book, That's Not What I Said, Master Conflict with Conversational Competence. I loved this book. I want everyone to learn how to show up in every conversation that you've been avoiding. We'll link the book in the show notes and be sure to pick up a copy. Thank you for joining us on this episode of In Confidence. Please share this episode with someone who needs to hear it today. Like, comment, review so that we can amplify our work. Every time you share a compliment or a comment, it amplifies the feeling for you and for our team to know that our work matters. And until next time, in the words of my 9-year-old self, I see you, I value you, and I believe in you. This is In Confidence.